Well, hey, good afternoon, my sweet Kit Kats. Come on in. Let's have some fun crafting together today. How is everybody doing? If you're seeing that red light button, you're catching me live right here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. It is a beautiful sunny day, about 75 degrees today. I'm not complaining at that one bit. That is perfect for me. If that red light button is missing, you're just catching me on the replay, and I would really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind just down in your comments, hashtag replay me. I know that you were here, and I can answer any questions, and thank you so much for coming as FB allows me to. So what is everybody up to today? What are you taking credit for on this Take Credit Tuesday? Come on in and say hello so I can give you a big welcome. And while you are, I'm going to just find myself on my tablet and do a little sprinkling. If you wouldn't mind sprinkling, I would oh so greatly appreciate it. There's my sweet Donna Sue. Let's see here. How are you today? Hey, Barb, nice to see you, dear. We just do a little bit of sprinkling here. So bear with me for just a moment. Lives, I'm getting a little bit better at these. Or trying to anyway. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I was just saying the weather is gorgeous here today in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. It's about 75 degrees and sunny. A little bit hazy. But that temperature for me is absolutely perfect. I hope you guys are having nice weather wherever you are and enjoying your day and taking credit for something amazing. Hi, Mary Lou. Hey, Donna. Thank you, Joanne, for the sprinkle. Hello, Sheila. Hey, Denise. Nice to see you. Joanne, it's so good to have you. Howdy, Mom. Hey, Regine. Nice to see you. It's cold and misty. Ugh. Well, we don't like cold and misty, right? I think we're going to drop in temperature here for the rest of the week, but yesterday and today it was absolutely gorgeous. And I love right around 75 degrees. It's nice by you too, Joyce Ann. Good afternoon. Nice to see you too. Come on in, everybody. Hey, Mickey. Thank you for the sprinkle. I appreciate it. Cold and misty. I'm so sorry. Okay, we have lots of fun things to do today. Baked a loaf of banana bread for Corbin and rhubarb crisp. Oh my gosh, I wish I was there. I need to get some from my daughter and make some too. Thank you, Regine, for the kitty fur spreading. I appreciate that so much. If you are new to watching me, that just means sprinkling me over onto your page, sharing me over in hopes of bringing in all your favorites and your friends. Hi, Susan. Nice to have you. And before we get started, I have a couple things I want to talk about. The first one is, if any of you are familiar with Labri, it is it's beautiful by you. Hi, Mary Jane. So nice to have you. It is a place where I order hair care, skincare, makeup, sunscreens, baby washes. They have absolutely everything. I just have an open link. I shared it on my page here last week. If you are interested, you just have to scroll down and take a peek, and you can do any shopping there if you are in need of any restocks. 70s and sunny by you, Donna. That's just perfect for me. I love when I'm driving. You know, I was doing some running around this morning and everybody's out cutting their grass or doing things in the yard, and it smells so good. You know, it smells like a combination of fresh grass and watermelon to me. Hi, Patricia. Nice to see you. All right. And then my sweet little Donna Sue, who is on with us often, she sent me a little happy mail, and I wanted to show all of you. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. I love that she did that for me in a nice little, pretty little handwritten note. And I saved these guys. Hi, Tanya. So my sweet and beautiful Donna Sue, thank you so much, darling. Let's look at these beautiful little napkins in here. It is always so kind and so appreciated when you all send me anything. I love it. And I hope you know how much it means to me. I didn't even look at the napkins. They are so pretty. Love the blues. Ooh, that's a pretty one. I haven't seen either of these. How cute is that? We might have to plan a craft with one. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Hey, my sweet Linda, how you doing, hon? That is right up my alley. We might have to do that on a bottle, I think. Oh, so gorgeous. I love it. Oh, this side too. Paris themed. Who doesn't love that, right? And then, ooh, that beautiful pinky purple. How cute. Thank you, Joyce Ann. Thank you so much, my sweet Donna Sue. That was so nice of you. Those are super pretty. I might have to do, for sure, a bottle on that one. And then some goodies in here. Let's take a little look-see. Aren't they pretty? Oh, is that so cute? Hey, sweet Victoria, how are you, darling? So nice of you to join. Oh, is that stinking cute? It's a little kitty cat. I love that. I might have to put that on my apron so I can see it more often. That is adorable. Aw, look at that. It's going to be the initial of my last name in another 5 months, right? I love that. So cute. I could definitely see doing that on a hat, perhaps. So beautiful. My Donna Sue knows I love me some bling and pearls. That is cute. Very pretty brooch. Donna Sue, thank you so much. Ooh, is that ever fun? Well, that is beautiful. From Temu, fun. I've not gotten any from them before. Hey, sweet Jody. Look how beautiful this is. To put on like a chain. Looks like a little resin dried flower. How gorgeous. Hey, Michelle, nice to see you. I will have to find a little chain for that. That's beautiful. I love it. Oh. Well, Donna Sue, you know me so well. Oh my gosh, is that pretty? Pearls and bling. You can't go wrong, right? I love it all so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my dear friend. That is very, very kind of you. I know, so beautiful. I love that. And I save all the little notes. I'm trying to find the time to put together like a little journal of all the cards, the notes, and fun things that I have saved since starting about 3 years ago. So I wanted to show you guys that. Thank you again. Mwah. Thank you. Hey, Sheila. Very pretty. Yes, I haven't ordered from them for a while, to be honest. Sometimes I forget about it. All right, so today we're going to see what we can't come up with here. I have 2 projects that I want to start. I don't know that we'll get to the second one. We'll see how long it takes us on this first one. But several weeks ago, I posted some frames that I had actually picked up from Walmart. They were in the clearance area after Mother's Day, and they came out to be 79 cents, if you can believe that. They were a super, super bright, like fuchsia pink, and they feel wooden, but like the pressed wood, I would say. Not super heavy, but also not super, super light, if that makes any sense. And so what I did with these is I used my Zinsser spray primer. I will tell you, I had to do several coats of that outside just to cover that bright, bright pink. But I just wanted to show you how amazing that Zinsser primer does cover. Hey, Ricky, how you doing, friend? So nice to see you. So I probably did 4 or 5 light coats of my spray primer on here. If you find something that is a super bright color you're trying to cover up, or lettering and things like that, you definitely may need a coat more than normal. And if not, 2 or 3 for sure. I only bought 2. I didn't want to buy all of them. And when I was checking out, the cashier said, oh my God, 79 cents. Where did you find them? And I said, there's only 2 left. You better hurry up and snag them. So I like the shape. I just like that it was something different. So that's what it started like. And I've done a little prep work on the one that we're going to use today. Thank you, sweet Donna Sue Hun. I will do that. Just to save a little bit of time in painting, we are going to be using the beautiful Heraldry. I think that's how you say it. This IOD mold from the 2025 summer release. This is the only one I was able to get my hands on at the time out of the release, but I have already used it several times and I love it. So in the description of my live today, it is still available, but I bet it's going to sell out like hotcakes. Hi, Carrie, hun. Is the link for our sweet friend Victoria, Old to Ooh La La. Hey, sweet Aracelis, hola, nice to see you, darling. So happy that you could join us today. So again, we're going to use the wings and the heart. I cannot help myself. And I think I have something coming up for the rose here. I've just got to, I lay in bed at night when I can't sleep and I think about crafts. Thank you, darling, for the sprinkle. So hi, Eva. I know, isn't it gorgeous? If you were to order from Old to Ooh La La, that link is in the description today. And Sweet Victoria, if you're on still, my darling, feel free to drop your link if you would like. This mold is available. Just put in the comments of your order, please, if you think about it, that Keli-Kat sent you. That would be greatly appreciated. Hey, Rachel, how are you, hon? So I can't stand how amazing this is. I think that we can use this all year long. I think it's a timeless mold. We always want wings, right? We always need hearts or a crown. And then these are just like a bonus to me. All right, so that is that. Then I've already taken that very same frame. Hey, sweet Kim, darling, how are you, hon? That one is not sold out, that mold, at least when I just looked before the live. So I've given this a really nice coat of black chalk paint in the color Onyx. This comes from Michael's. I know it's kind of crazy, but I'm hoping that the process goes as it is in my mind. And then on the very inside here, I did put a coat of our one component crackle medium from Pentart. You just got that one, Mickey? You just ordered or did it come to you already? You are going to love it. So the one component, we've kind of been using that a lot lately. We're going to come over that. It's all good and dry with just a little bit of sheepskin chalk paint. So we're going to do that part first, just so it has time to do its thing-ish. And I just put a little bit out into one of these throwaway containers here. And we're going to go ahead and get our crackle started. I just want the background to be a little bit aged, I think. So let's see what we can come up with. I wanted to tell you guys too, sometimes my chalk paints, my folk art chalk paints, they get a little thick at times. So if that happens, don't be afraid to just add, a small squirt of water. Give it a little mix until you think it's the right consistency, and it should be fantastic. So we're going to do just the inside, I think, with this color. I just wanted it to stay somewhat light. Hi, Carol, darling. Hey, my beautiful, sweet Carly. How are you, hon? Because some of the other things we're going to do to it, I didn't want it to be all super, super dark and kind of drag things down. So hopefully this will go well. And I'm just going to come in and start adding that paint color. So our one component crackles, we did that last week on that wooden thrifted frame on the outside of it. It works absolutely amazing. If you are a crackle person and you just like the one component, so you're kind of sandwiching it between the two colors, this is the one for you for sure. So you would put your base coat down, and I may have to touch up in here. That's perfectly fine if that should happen. My base coat here was black. Let that dry really well. Come in with your one component crackle medium. Put a nice even layer over the top of your base color. So your base is usually your darker color. We just got back from there last weekend, sweet Michelle. You're so welcome, Rachel, hon. Hi, LaFon. I'm from Texas. It's sunny. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much. Resin and Formflex for sure, Mickey. I'm so excited for you. We had a wonderful weekend up at the cabin. We weren't able to go over the Memorial Day holidays, so we were able to go last weekend, and it was so nice. I always get super sad. I never want to leave. It's just so, relaxing and beautiful there. At one point, we were sitting outside, and there were a couple deer eating maybe 10 feet from us. Typically, we'll do something super fast, by the time we get up there, say on a Friday evening. So we just do pizza or something, and we were sitting outside by the fire having pizza, watching the deer, and I was like, I wonder what the poor people are doing. That's what my dad would always say. And those people were always us, So did I take my I did take my brush holder upstairs and I never brought it back down. All right, so before you even start applying heat to your crackle, it will already start crackling for you. I love that. That's why it is like fail safe to use this for crackle if you like that look. So we're going to give it just a little bit of a dry here, and we'll kind of see if I'm going to paint this inside portion of the frame or not. I know we are going to on the outside. We're going to use a little pigment fix and metal pigment powders and see what we can't come up with. So I already love it just like that, guys. And so here is one of the wings that I've done out of that mold from IOD. This is Formflex. I brought the bag of Formflex down just so you can see what it looks like. And if you're interested, you just go to www.formflexcompound.com, or I do have that link in my link tree. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just know a lot of you ask, so I like to put it out there, and I love it so much. I'm so very happy for sending anybody in their direction. Sweet Lori, none that I'm aware of, my darling, no. Hi, Suzanne, nice to see you. Is there letters in there? In this part, Joyce Ann? In the middle or in, what was I just showing? I'm not sure. There was letters on there. It said, you know, World's Best Mom or something like that. And they had them in this bright fuchsia pink frame and like a light lavender. All right, so now that we have hit it with some heat, hi, my beautiful sweet Rach. Nice to see you on. Now we have that gorgeous crackle. I love that. And here's what we're gonna do, because I forgot my little water container there. Okay, so I have already done one of the wings. Hi, Betty. There aren't any more, Joyce Ann. I covered them up completely with primer. Hi, my beautiful and sweet Giselle, darling. So nice to see you. So here is one of the wings I've done, and we're going to do the other one together. This is actually rice paper. How fun is that? So you can decoupage right on your Formflex. And this is the rice paper. I am not 100% sure where this came from, but I want to say it's Stamperia. And it very well could or could not be available at my link to TH Decor. If you type in your comments, !THDECOR, the little chat bot will send you back that link. And then you could definitely search the site by just putting in roses or something like that. I've had this one for quite some time. So you see there's like little music notes there, little scripts and such. Thank you, Sheila. No worry, Joyce. No worry at all. So we're going to just kind of pick a spot on here. And we're going to cut, you know, just a large area, larger than what we need. Put that aside and save that for something else. Isn't that so pretty? Thank you, Donna Sue. Thank you, sweet Mary Jane. Thank you, Lori, darling. All right. So all you have to do is take your decoupage, varnish and glue, whatever you like to use. I'm just using, of course, that Silky Shine from Pentart. Thank you, sweet Eva. I have had some of these papers for so very long, and I don't know, it sometimes takes me months or years to use them and think of, you know, just the perfect thing I want to put them on. So you want to make sure on your little castings, be it resin castings, Formflex, you can do this on clay also. Hey, Terry, so glad to have you. I'm glad you caught me live too. Is you want to make sure you're getting it down in all those little nooks and crannies. My sweet sister Rach is on, guys. Please send some extra love and hugs for her. She did have her wrist surgery yesterday and she is home recovering. You know how that goes, right? Sweet Jody, this is actually Formflex, which is the flexible molding compound that stays flexible for you. I have used that quick cast resin, rapid cast. You can get that on my link to all paint products, which is in my Linktree, !Linktree, or it's pinned at the top of my page. And that would work beautifully also. You can even fine line crackle on your molds. It is so much fun and so pretty. All right, it looks like I touched black on my rice paper someplace. Let me see. I think we're gonna be okay. Okay, so then I took either like a little bit stiffer kind of chippy brush and just started tapping that rice paper into your decoupage varnish, just so that you're kind of picking up some of the detail in it. And I feel like it's a little bit easier so that we don't rip it, hopefully. Hi, sweet Doris, thank you for the sprinkle. There's beautiful Judy. Thank you for the sprinkle, hun. Okay, so I'm just tapping it down into all that detail. And instead of having to sand this or anything, any little edges I had, I just decoupage right around the back side of this. No worries. The crackle on my frame is the 1 component crackle medium. Thank you, sweet Cindy, and hello to you, hun. I know she would appreciate some extra hugs and prayers, right? So then once you kind of get it tapped in there, if you try to push this part down, the extra, now you can cut this a lot closer to your, to your piece. Have a good nap, Mom. Thank you so much for being here. But I want to make a couple little slits right there so that I can trim off, any excess that I can, like the large areas of excess. So let's do that. I'm still going to leave a fairly good amount and we'll just wrap that around. And if you were to cut a little bit too much, all you have to do is piece in something, a little extra scrap, and nobody will know. I did that on the other wing. You'll have no idea. So then here, where you want to, where we've got curves and things, where we want to be able to push that down in, just give it a little snip. Any place that there's a spot that we want to push it down, and that will kind of help it lie nicer for you. You're so welcome, hon, anytime. Then all I do is come back in, put a little bit more of that varnish and glue around those edges and down into any, small areas so that we're sure it's going to stick on there real good. And I'll tell you, it does not have to be perfect. Thank you, sweet Sheila. I appreciate that. Then I just kind of take my brush and start folding over that rice paper. You could definitely do this with a napkin, I would say. You just want to be super, super gentle. Thank you, sweet Giselle. Thank you, Michelle. You know how that is, especially those first days after a surgery, it's hard on your body, right? I've had several surgeries. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. And anybody else who needs a prayer, spoken or unspoken, we'll be happy to send them for you. It surely can't hurt, right? That's how I feel about it. Hey, Mary Grace, nice to see you. Now, if you're doing a napkin, I would just be super careful where you're touching it, because if you touch it where there's a bit of a sticky glue spot and then try to pull back your fingers, you're probably going to pull some of that napkin with it. So I am trying to just grab on the very back here where I don't have anything. And you could definitely cut more of the rice paper or napkin off so you don't have that excess. I just found it really nice to be able to wrap right around the back of this. You can paint the back of your pieces. If they're going to be seen at all, you can decoupage on both sides. All right, and then here is that little area where the wing kind of goes in. So I just want to make sure I have enough of that medium all on those edges. Thank you, sweet Doris. I appreciate that. Number 14, girl, I'm at about a dozen, I'd say. Ugh, and I'm getting stuff on my frame. that aside. Okay. And then I do the same thing that I would do if I am decoupaging this down on a frame or a bottle. You still want to seal it to protect it. And I can use the same varnish and glue to do that. You use whatever you have, whatever you like. Mod Podge works, all the things. All right. And then the important thing is to just kind of let this hang out on its own and dry. And then when it is dry, I usually come back and just double check my edges, make sure they're all down really good. But then we have our second wing done. So this one's all nice and dry and happy. Hi, Patricia, darling. Thank you, Giselle. And even though they're different, it's the same rice paper. I think it's so beautiful. So we will just set this one. I usually set it on the top of something, put it on some parchment paper just so that any stick on the back won't stick to your piece when you try to remove it later. Okay. Stick those in there. All right. Then that middle heart piece from the mold. So this guy right here. Thank you, Mary Grace. I appreciate it greatly. I have done the same thing. I've casted that in Formflex, so it's nice and flexible. Thank you, Carrie. I painted it black because I want to come in and put a couple of different colors over the top. One of them I thought, ooh, it might be metallic. So oftentimes if you are painting something metallic, having a black paint underneath is very helpful. You don't have to use as much product, in my opinion. And so I think we're going to do this beautiful metallic Bordeaux, I believe this is called, from Paint Couture. Hey, sweet Karen Jean. So nice to see you. Thank you. So any Pentart products like this one can be found at TH Decor. And I just love that red. So I am going to put a glove on. Hey, sweet Jess, how are you? Is that you in your gown on your little profile picture? That's so fun. Thank you, Sheila. What did you get, sweet Giselle? Thank you, Karen Jean, for that sprinkle, darling. I appreciate it oh so much. All right, let's find a brush. This is a very, very beautiful metallic. I love it so much that when I first started using it, I went out right away and got another one because it's just so pretty. And I'm going to kind of just haphazardly apply this. I don't necessarily want every little nook and cranny covered. Okay. And then let me see. Is that what I want to try? So I have a little something together in my head and some transfers. I had to wait. I could not get the transfers, unfortunately. But hopefully when I am able, it will still be available. So I'm just taking a little bit of a dry paper towel and just kind of dabbing it some, just to kind of give it that kind of aged look, if you will. Jason got it. That's so awesome, Jess. I love that. Did you have a big party to celebrate your amazing accomplishment? Okay. So I think that's all on that one. Gosh, I don't know where in the world I left my water jar sit. So here's what that kind of looks like. And then just for fun, I haven't used this in quite some time. I have this sparkling gel. It is from Pentart also. This is a red gold. And TH Decor has several different colors of the sparkling gels, at least at last look. Beautiful colors. You can either paint it on and leave it that way. You can blend some of them together to create a really cool color and look. They have some beautiful teal blues and blues. This one is red gold, so you can kind of just paint it on here or there. You can paint it on something and wipe it back a little bit. So I thought a little bit of just a shimmery sparkle of that gold would be pretty. It is gorgeous on wood if you do a couple of the different colors. I have only always ordered this one. And I think sometimes I just forget, you know, that they're available. So just a tiny little bit on that. Okay. And I'll show you. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. You can see that gold sparkle. It's really delicate. Jason is taking me on a trip to celebrate. That's so fun. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time. Hey, sweet Vicky. It's just very, very pretty. I think that'll be really nice between our little rice paper wings there. All right. I don't know why I was wiping off my glove. So here's my next thought. I'll just get rid of that so I don't transfer any of that onto our frame. And I'm just going to put my brushes in a little baby wipe just to kind of keep them damp. So those of you who have watched me for a while know that I love the gilded transfers. I'm so excited for you, Jess Hun. I hope you have a good time. So I pulled out some of the gilded etiquette transfers. Do you guys remember these from IOD? Super bright, but just ever so gorgeous. They had Christmas ones. I think they were called tinsel. And I like to use just little varying pieces of them here or there for just a little bit of extra embellishing, if you want to say that. So I have just a whole bunch of them pulled out. Some of them are literally just like little scrap pieces with a couple little words on them. And so we're going to add some of that on the inside portion of the frame here. I don't know. I just love how that looks. Thank you, Vicky. So don't be afraid to cut your transfers, to use them, you know, in little pieces, if you want to say that. And the weird thing is, guys, I don't remember what parts of these, hi, Cynthia, were actually parts that are going to come off. So we'll just see what happens. I just peeled off that little back layer and using my little plastic stick here, I did not seal my chalk paint. I just want to see the difference if they go down any better for me. Thank you, sweet Jess. Now, sometimes it might be a little tricky to get up your, you know, the piece. So take a little, that's my little Cricut tool. It comes in super stinking handy. Anything that you have. Hi, my beautiful Denise. I'm so glad that you stopped to say hi and enjoy your appointment. Those are always good ones, aren't they? I love that. So just do a little rubbing down here. And again, it's just small little sections where you have that pretty little pop of gold. I love it. So we're going to do that in several places here. I have another little area here, you know, so it just comes on that little white backing. You peel that off. Thank you, Denise. And then let's make sure our writing is going in the right direction here. I don't know. I just like that look. And I especially like it with gold over the black like this. I think that's super pretty. So I like to call this kind of a rustic glam, you know. Hi, sweet Cheryl. How are you, hun? Because we have that crackle and we kind of want, you know, it to be a little bit aged and beat up looking. Thank you, Karen Jean. But then I think we can also make it a little bit glam, if you will. So just pick up that piece. You can use the little backing if you want to just kind of rub over it or burnish it. Just make sure it's all down. And we're going to keep on doing that. So I just have extra little pieces here. Isn't that so fun? I love it too. And even if I'm missing some of the words, you know, or a few of the letters, I'm really quite okay with that. I like that look. So save your scraps, right? Hi, Rose. How are you? Especially if you haven't tried these gilded transfers, they are just beautiful. On TH Decor, you can find some gilded rice papers, usually from AB Studios. And those are super, super pretty to craft with also. Thank you, sweet Cheryl. Thank you guys so much for spending some of your day with me today. It's Take Credit Tuesday, guys. So what are you taking credit for? I did a little running around this morning. That was fun. Just because it's nice to be outside, you know? Hi, Yvette. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you. Hey, Carla. Super nice to have you guys. And I find that with these, you do not have to push very much at all. And I would typically say if you're putting these over a chalk paint, I would say to seal your paint first. In the past, that has proven to be really smart for me. But in the present, most times I'm finding when I am sealing that, I mean, I get it to come off, but not as easy. So I don't understand it much. Now, when I do any paint couture paints, the mineral paints have that built-in top coat. I never have any issues. And just slowly kind of peel back there so you can kind of see, you know, there's no rhyme or reason wherever you like or don't like it. Hey, Cheryl, nice to have you. It is super fun. I have kind of organized them into like little Ziploc bags, I will say, of ones where I have quite a few of them left. And then I have one that's just all kind of scraps and transfers. Fingers crossed. Uh-oh, what did I miss? I'm waiting while I am waiting for my black paint to dry in your first bottle. It's going to be beautiful, Cindy. I'm so proud of you for trying. I am going to be posting as soon as I edit a quick play video where I have used a gorgeous transfer from Magnolia Design Company from our sweet friend Giselle at Your Craft Cottage. That is her page name. I have never used a transfer from them, but I have got to tell you, it was amazing. And it is a full sheet transfer. Quick swig of my coffee. Everybody have a schluck. I was a little bit nervous about it. And my gosh, it went down just beautifully, I've got to tell you. I was shocked. Not that I didn't think it would be nice, but it was that nice where a full sheet transfer, it was like less than a minute I had it down. Beautiful. No spots that pulled up on me, nothing like that. And I feel very much the same way about the IOD transfers. So sometimes I wonder if it was maybe my paint that's gotten older or something like that. Oh my God, Giselle, I got 2 of them and finally found a little something to do the one on. So now I'm excited trying to find something else, another surface to do that second one. I'll show it to you. I'll show you the second transfer. So just using my little Cricut tool here to just gently pull that back. It's very satisfying. Let me find it here. So here is the second one I ordered. This is Magnolia Design Company. Isn't that scream Keli-Kat to you? And they give you some nice instructions on the backside here. And that's the same size. The other one I did is exactly the same size. So I think that's what made me a little bit nervous. It was so big. Hi, Pamela, darling. You're working in the gift shop today? That's happy and so sweet of you. So I'm looking for just the right thing to put that one down on. I'm real excited about it. But if you are interested to see any of those beautiful transfers, head on over to my sweet friend Giselle's page, Your Craft Cottage. Hey, sweet Carla. All right, maybe just a couple smaller spots here. So you can see on a little frame, I mean, you're getting a lot out of just that one extra piece that I had, you know? Hey, sweet Tammy, thank you. And again, just no rhyme or reason, wherever you like it. So I have used that particular IOD transfer set for so many projects. in fact, any of the transfer sets I have gotten from them. I can't even tell you how many that I've, made something with. Thank you, Karen Jean. You get a lot. You definitely get your money's worth. Sometimes you just need to help along that little piece. If you see any little edges kind of sticking up, just use your finger and kind of gently rub it down. And then maybe just a small area there. Sometimes it's hard for me and I have to tell myself to stop because it looks so pretty. Thank you, Vicki and Sweet Sheila. I appreciate it. You're so welcome. Absolutely, Giselle. And of course, if you see any craft pages on here that you haven't heard of or aren't following, I would love it if you would go check them out. Had to plug in and restart. Oh, Annette, I'm so sorry. Nice to see you on. It's always fun to give a follow. You might find your new favorite crafter, right? And I myself know, and I know that for me and the other crafters, I know just appreciate it so very much. Okay. Heck, if they go on sideways, I still think they're pretty. And I'll be sealing this whole inner area. I don't think we need any on the inside. That's all going to kind of be covered with our wings and our heart mold there. So let's just put a small little strip of lettering. I think it is so beautiful. Just a tiny, tiny little strip. So you could say decoupage, say you're doing a bottle or you're, doing a little frame like this, but you have put rice paper or a napkin on the inside. You could come over with little bits and bobbles of your spare transfers, find something that might match. I've done it on bottles and it looks so pretty, I have to say. And I'm not pushing at all. I mean, hardly at all. All right, we'll call that part good for now. And I still have one little scrap piece left. So I had pulled out a pile of them and I just used one. So I think that's pretty great. Just gonna get my little sheet portion here so that it has something to stick onto. And we'll set those aside. All right, now, let me think here. Let's mix up a little of our pigment fix with some powder. So what do you guys think as far as the pigment powder? We're basically going to be making our own paint. Hi, my sweet and beautiful Debbie. So nice to have you. So I have a champagne color, that's this one, or an antique gold. And we're going to be painting the very outside of the frame and up in here where it kind of has that ridge. So champagne is the lighter one, or antique gold. What do you guys think? Should we go more with that antique gold to match our gilded transfer a little bit? Or do we do something a little bit lighter? Let me know what you think. And while I'm looking for those comments, this is the pigment fix. So it's that sticky liquid. That's okay. Excuse me, my sweet darling Debbie. Excuse me, I hope your appointment goes nice. I'm gonna turn my fan on right quick here, guys. Bear with my face in your face. So I just use a little throwaway container. You guys think yes on the antique gold? Because you can't save this once you've mixed it, whatever you have left over, you have to get rid of. Antique gold. Okay, I think so too, guys. I just like to sometimes have an option, an extra option. Antique. Okay, have I used this one yet? Don't think I have. I'm just going to hold it over here away from my fan for a second. I'm using a little popsicle stick and just scooping out some of that powder. And then you just want to slowly mix it together. Thank you, Annette. Everybody's saying gold. Awesome. Good, good. Antique gold. So I usually use just a regular gold. You can use mica powders. Carol, you say gold too. Hi, sweet Vicky. You're never late, my darling. No such thing as late in the crafty world, right? Barb, you think the lighter one, the champagne, is beautiful. Hi, Ellen. Hey, sweet Daylene. So good to see you. And again, you just want to mix this up until you've incorporated all that powder and it gets to be nice and smooth looking. It's super fun to use. And you're basically creating your own paint. So people say, well, why would you do this? You know, why wouldn't you just buy that color paint? You definitely could, but I think there are so many beautiful colors in pigment powders, metal pigments, mica powders, all that kind of stuff. Hey, sweet Kim, that you can really make some gorgeous colors, and they look metally to me. If that makes any sense. Okay, so if we need to come back and mix up extra, we can do that. But I usually start out with, well, for the love, just a small amount. Hi, Sharon. How are you, sweet lady? Just because I know I can't save it, whatever it is made of, it just does not have the properties like, say, paint would be, where you are able to cap it and use it again later. All right, so I mean, it's thicker. This is, I would say, I usually say like a sour cream consistency. I'd say a little bit less than that today. And I can always mix more. Metally, yes. It's metally. And you can definitely get this out of your brushes, no worries. Just use your little scrubby soap if you have one. It works fantastic. Of course, I'm not going to have the brush I want because I already probably used it. All right, let me see here. Hold on. There's lots of spots. We'll grab this one. All right, so if you are using something like this that says metal pigment on it, you would want to seal this with a solvent-based sealer. If it says metallic, you can seal with your sealer of choice. The reason why you want to do a solvent-based, if it has the word metal in it, is so that it doesn't do any kind of like weird oxidation and change your metal color. So I will want to seal this with a solvent base because it says metal, metallic, any sealer of your choice. Okay. Okay. And then let's just, those first few swipes are always so fun. And here again, I don't want like a super, super full coverage. I just want some of that black here and there just to kind of shine through. Kind of like that. If you, if you want to after the fact, you can definitely do a little bit of sanding here just to kind of take some of that back even further if you want to see more of that black. But then on this particular frame, I got to sometimes remind myself, hey, Roxanne, of what that color was underneath, because it was that bright, bright pink, like a fuchsia pink for sure. And then I did that spray primer. So if I sand a little bit too much, I'm going to see that white. And I don't always necessarily love that. And I'll say that this goes quite a long ways. So that little tiny bit, I did like 2 little scoops of the pigment powder. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. A couple little spoonfuls of the pigment fix. Both of those items you can find on my link to TH Decor, which is just !THDECOR. If you go to the top right, there's a little search engine there. You can type in pigment powder. You could type in pigment fix, that's the liquid, and you should have an easier time finding it by doing it that way. So you kind of see that I'm leaving some of that black just kind of showing through as if it's been aged a bit. So now we're going to come in and do that to this like top little edge here. just to kind of line it almost like you would if you were using some wax paste. That would work good too. If you aren't able to get your hands on something like this, a wax paste, a rub and buff would be beautiful around all the detail. I think that's fun. I think we're going to do the gold on the inside too. Just to kind of have it all working together. And wasn't this kind of a fun, thank you, Ellen and Sweet Karen, a fun shape? I certainly didn't think I'd find it at Walmart of all places, right? And fortunately for me, it was right where I walked in on a little shelf where they kind of have their, you know, their clearance or, I'm sorry, not clearance, their seasonal or like holiday stuff. Right in my face, like, hey, look at me and please put me in your cart. And then if you get any, you know, of this someplace you don't want it, just go back in and touch up your paint color. No worries. Again, I'm not hardly dipping in here at all, and I've probably made too much. So less is definitely more. Let's see. Just want to get the backside here a little bit. And then when you do a gloss over this, thank you, Sweet Carrie, a glossy sealer. The solvent-based ones, you know, they're the pretty stinky ones. So if you try to use that and you're sensitive to smells, just do it someplace that you can get away from it, or do it outside where you have some ventilation. It doesn't bother me anymore, but the clear gloss did initially until I really started using it, you know? And then I think I got used to it. So I didn't pick up any more paint. I'm just kind of using what's left on the brush. But like I said, rub and buff could be beautiful on here too, if that's what you have and that's what you like. I kind of like that look. I'm just going to have to see here in a second if I want to go on the inside edges, kind of bring that together on the inside. I think I shall. But I think I need a smaller brush. Do you guys hear the birds singing here? It's my favorite part, when you open those windows and the birds are out and you know that it is supposed to be the warm season, right? So the other little project that I may start here with you guys, just the one portion of it, is, have any of you seen me use that? It's the brick stencil. I think it's from Decoupage Queen. I've used it on a lot of projects because it is so versatile. You just hear the fan, okay? Sometimes people say, what is that in your background? I'm like, oh, probably the birds. My window's open down here. So I like to use that brick stencil with something like a modeling paste typically, or a crystal paste. And it takes a little bit to dry. So I thought we could do just that part together so that the next time I'm able to go live, we can get right into working on it and not have to wait for it to dry. I love that stencil. I love modeling paste because then you can come back in and paint it, you know, antique it, wax it, whatever you like. It's definitely warm by you, Sweet Carrie. How warm is warm? I couldn't believe that my car actually knew how to register 75 degrees today. I was so excited. I have to pull up my weather app every morning and say, okay, Wisconsin, what do you got for us? How do we dress today? All right, I'm just about done with this part, and then I'll show you what we have. I don't think we need any kind of a bow. I think this will kind of just speak for itself, right? And so I'm just kind of messily applying it here so that it almost looks we'll say aged. Aged but pretty. It's also super humid. I don't love the humidity, but when we are in Aruba, where it is, oh my God, so humid. In fact, the first time that I was going to be going there, that was kind of my worry, was the heat, you know, because I tend to get a little ill in that kind of a heat. And Greg said, but it's really not as bad as you think. There's always a trade wind blowing. And I was like, okay, Greg. But he was right. And that breeze is enough to, I mean, you're still warm, don't get me wrong, but it is enough to definitely make it tolerable. And then where we stay, the ocean is about 10 feet away. We have been running in the low to mid 90s, hot, dry heat. I prefer dry heat, Barb. So I am going to go on the very inside here too. I think if we do that, it will help it to look, you know, like it was all done this way. And then don't be afraid to take your little gator sander or a little piece of sandpaper or a little emery board. And you can always do a little bit of sanding if you want to rough it up even a little bit more or kind of have that like chippy look going on. And I will probably have to go in there and touch up just a couple of those spots where my chalk paint went. Exactly, Sharon, right? And it's usually like between 86 and 90 there in Aruba. Whenever we look at the weather app, that's always what it says. 86 to 88 to 90 and always breezy, always humid. We laugh sometimes when we're out and about. I'm like, look at that guy. He's got on a hoodie, jeans, you know, he has his hood up. He's definitely from Aruba. He must be used to it, right? I'm sorry, I need to take my dogs outside. That's okay, sweetheart. Anytime. In the water, yes. It is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous by you, 74 and mostly sunny. That's about here, I would say. I live in Wisconsin, sweet Sharon, where we never quite know what you're going to get for weather. But we love Aruba. So we are going there for our honeymoon in October. I am so excited to see our dear and wonderful Bridget and Gino, our hosts at the Airbnb we stay in. We have become close to them and I miss them. So it'll be great. I don't want to wish away the summer, but I surely cannot wait for that. So yeah, when we see people in Aruba in hoodies and, you know, long pants or whatever, we're like, they have got to be locals because I don't know how they stand it. In a hoodie. I think I have that ring you're wearing. I have no idea, my sweet Judy, what it is. And I don't know where I got it, to be honest with you. I love jewelry. And I love like big and chunky kind of rings like that once in a while. Some of them I get, of course, from our sweet friend Lynette at Paparazzi. Right, let me see how I did here. I actually think that is pretty good. I don't want it perfect, right? All right, it's coming together. So I still have a fairly good amount of this. So you usually have to cook. We like to have a place where we can prepare some of our own meals because it's a lot cheaper. They have some amazing grocery stores in Aruba, huge, and everything you can possibly think of. So we do several meals right there. We do lunches right there so that you're not having to eat out every single night, you know, or every single meal. So, I mean, I have a good amount left here. This would go probably on a whole nother frame because it goes so far. So that's fun. So that was our pigment fix with metal pigment powder in antique gold. metal pigment is what it is. Of course, it's backwards, but it's beautiful. This was the champagne. They have several different colors at TH Decor. And then this was the pigment fix, if you're interested in seeing what that was about. But getting hot. Ugh. Oof. Now you could also, and I wanted to just pull these out for the sake of something different you could do if you have a frame that's maybe not quite as, you know, a pretty shape, or you want to add a little something to it. Maybe you just find a nice wooden frame in the clearance at the Walmart or something. These are also Formflex castings. These come from the Chic Borders Decoupage Queen mold. And I just have these painted black and kind of in my little container because I can pull them out for what I need. So they stay nice and flexible. You can wrap that around a bottle beautifully, but you could also put them on a frame, you know, paint them in a beautiful color that kind of goes with it. Hi, my beautiful Phyllis. I'm sorry I missed you. It is fun. And Greg loves it. He loves to cook too. So it's fun for the both of us, you know. And then maybe you, like on this frame, let's say for an example, you could put these down and do some of that gold over, some of the gold wax paste. If you have a frame that's a little bit more plain on the sides, you could make some thicker ones that come in that Chic Borders mold and glue them down the sides, paint them in a color that's kind of coordinating what you're doing. So you can always add on just even a little bit of something and make it a little bit more detailed if you like that. All right, so these are how these little wings are going to go. Remember last time I messed them up? So let me see if I got that right. That looks right. And I forget how I had them. So they're going to stick up a little bit, but I kind of like it. And then that's going to go right there. So by putting them a little bit closer together, to me, they look like a butterfly wing. You could definitely do something in the middle of these to give it that like butterfly body. You could do the crown mold from that same mold, the Heraldry mold from IOD, if you like that. Maybe you have a little angel that could fit right in the center of here. That could be beautiful. These are all from that same mold. And you could even do this. Maybe you'll like that as something just a little bit different. Seeing that we have the roses on there, that would be gorgeous. Thank you, Annette. Love the crackle. Okay, just want to make sure. Tahini. Really, sometimes here too, actually, hon, because I remember years ago my daughter had to make something out of it. We're going to seal this right away. Isn't that so fun, Carrie? Thank you, Giselle, darling. Thank you, Annette. So let's seal it so that we can adhere this down together. And this is the clear varnish that is super strong smelling from Pentart. Thank you, Carol. But I do absolutely love it. And like I said, I've just gotten used to it. So I like to take just a little soft brush. This is just a Dollar Tree makeup brush. And kind of get off anything that might have, you know, attached itself to it while we were making it. Before I seal it, just a fun little fluffy brush. Yes, that's what I thought, Phyllis. I was like, wow, that actually looks like a butterfly. So how fun would it be to do something in the middle of the body that would look like the butterfly's body, you know? You know what I mean? So let's seal all of this. I do want to protect our crackle. The solvent-based sealers do, in my opinion, take a little bit longer to dry. They're definitely a bit more sticky. But when I make the swipes over that black, I mean, it just brightens everything up beautiful because it is so pretty and glossy. And also because I use that metal pigment requires solvent-based sealer so that you're not changing the look of your metal pigment powder that we put on here. Sometimes a regular sealer will kind of oxidize with it and change the color of it. Don't ask me how I know. Thank you, LaFawn and Joanne. And I don't know, that gloss is just gorgeous. I think, nope, I still do have it out. So I made a cloche with the black and gold on a beautiful home goods frame around Christmas time with this transfer, the Gilded Etiquette transfer from IOD. And I was like, you know what? I can't put it away. I mean, it has an angel on it, but it's not necessarily just Christmas. So I have it out on my shelf of all the things that make me happy. And then just a nice coat all the way around the outside. We'll dry the inside enough that we can add here our wings and our heart. And then I'll let it dry the rest of the way. But definitely want to seal and protect all that beauty, right? And the funny thing is, guys, I never liked gold as a, as a decor color, in a jewelry color, nothing like that, until I really started getting into crafting and realized, you know what? I thought I was always going to pull for the silver, and now more than not, I go for the gold. I don't know, I like it. And it's so beautiful with so many colors. So this is very strong. Just want to make sure I tell you that a couple of times in case you do try it. The other solvent-based sealer will say it right on the front of the container, and it's a little bit of like, I'll grab it here, like an amber color. It's like a fake-ish wood, Sweet Carrie. But it feels fairly sturdy, to be honest with you. Let me grab my other one. Where is my other one? I don't see it. Hold on. Am I out of that one? Hold on. Let's see. Just so I can show you that one. I might be out of that. So here, this one says glossy varnish, solvent-based. It's a little more antique looking. This one does have a smell, but not near as strong as this one. This one does not say solvent-based on the front, but on the back side it does. So both of them are from TH Decor. Definitely not plastic. I don't know where my other varnish is. I could very well be out. And I do have a window open and my fan on. So let's see here. We are going to use, we might use both. We might use heavy body gel to put this down and a combination of a little bit of stick fast to put our wings and our heart down. And I should have sealed my wings and heart right away, but I can do that after the fact. So what do you guys think? The black is a little bit scary, right? But with the white, like that ivory crackle, I think that helps kind of brighten it up just a bit. That rose would make it gorgeous. You're right, Kim. When I was looking at it, I was like, wow, why didn't I pick the rose? Because it goes with the rice paper. Should I switch it, guys? Should we do that one instead, or the heart? I'm fine with either. Heavy paper packing comes in a perfect stand for holding your paint projects. Those formed heavy paper packing forms. I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure, Sweet Phyllis. Hi, Sweet Maria. Welcome in from Greece. Super happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining today. All the way from Greece. How fun is that? Hey, Sweet Heidi. A bold choice, right? Sometimes you just have to go for it. So I just want to get this inside dry enough that we can adhere down our Formflex castings here, that we have used some beautiful rice paper to cover those, to decoupage right down over that Formflex. You like the black too, Carol? I'm so glad. I think there's a time and a place for it, you know? All right, we're getting there. We are getting there. Turn it the right way here. feeling pretty good. You like the heart? Okay, Barb, we'll stick with our original plan, but we could definitely do that one in the future for sure. They all really work beautifully between those wings, don't they? In fact, the project that we're going to do with the little brick stencil, we're going to use the wings again, because I love to show you guys that there are so many different ways you can use them so that you are getting your money's worth, I like to say, out of your molds, you know? So let me just kind of see. I want these a little closer together. And because we have some flexibility on that form flex, I could push those all the way down, you know, as far as I want to get them, and have them, and that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have them just kind of sitting on that top little portion of the frame. So let's use some heavy body gel here. They came out beautiful. You used the fast cast. Oh, Mickey, I'm so excited for you. That's fun. So heavy body gel is a Pentart product. I'm using the glossy because any place that might kind of squish out the sides or whatnot, it will dry clear. Hi, Faye. Nice to see you. I love that fast cast resin too. You can get that on my link to all paint products. They have the fast cast in white or black and in many different sizes, as well as the heavy body gel. That's from TH Decor. It is fantastic to use as a glue for your castings of whatever you decide to make them out of: clay, resin, Formflex, Premier Clay, all that stuff. So we already sealed with our varnish and glue these little wings here. So I feel like we're golden there. So all I have to do is just put a coat over our heart. Now your heavy body gel will take a little bit to like completely cure, but it starts to grab hold quite quickly, and I love that. I agree when it came with the paper shaped sides. Oh, okay. Packed with rather than styrofoam. I save all those paper packing forms. That's a great idea, Sweet Phyllis. Now I know what you're saying. I'm sorry. That's perfect. I am forever grabbing parchment paper. Okay. And I will tell you that the wings are 2 different sizes. So when you start looking at them, if you say, what the heck, is this wrong? It's right. This one that I'm working on is just a little bit larger than the other one. And then any places that we wrapped around that rice paper, like you're never going to see it. So you do have a little working time with your heavy body gel. Hi, sweet Carol Ann. Nice to see you. But I just like to hold them down a little bit. And by the time we are done here, they will be fantastic. And then I just let them sit for the rest of the way, and that will completely cure probably in, I'd say, overnight. I mix the heavy body gel into palette painting with art and grace that night. Oh, Mickey, how fun. Do you do lives, sweet lady? And I didn't know that. That's fantastic. You can definitely mix it with paint. You can run it through those little thin pink fondant molds to make some beautiful, like little lace pieces, we'll say. I do like that heart. That is so pretty. So just for the sake of it, I'm going to take just a tiny bit of wax paste here in gold and just like hit those high areas on the heart with just a little bit of that. Sometimes it's all in those tiny little details, right? I really like that. You're not a live crafter. Okay, hon. Thank you, Annette. I was like, wait a second. Did I miss something? My sweet Mickey is crafting and I'm not watching? So So I don't really need to do the whole area because only kind of the edges are going to be hitting. And this is just a little, it's not even silicone. This little red tool here sometimes works kind of nice to put on your glues and spread them around. I will also say you don't need much. So if it kind of comes out the side there and I miss it, as long as you get the glossy, it's going to dry clear. It says Las Vegas. Sweet Carrie. I find that too when I'm watching people. I'm like, what in the world does their shirt say? Okay, we'll just hold that for a second. That's cute. Yes, very much like a butterfly. I agree with you. And I'll probably give the frame one more coat of that solvent-based sealer. And then I will do, we'll do the heart right away because I've got it out. So why not? Is that where I put that? I think so. I wouldn't have to do necessarily the solvent based on this because there's no metal that I used in here, you know, like the metal pigment powder, but I like it to be glossy just like the rest of the frame. So we even hit those wings a little bit. You could even come around the wings with just a little bit of that metal pigment powder that we mixed together with the pigment fix. If you wanted to do that on the edges, you could use your rub and buff, anything like that. You are so welcome. Starting to thunder out, it does look like, I was just noticing that, like it's definitely clouded up for sure. All right, let's put that away. I don't think we need that any longer. And then, of course, when everything dries, it'll be beautiful and glossy. But how fun and just different is that? Sweet Heidi, the black paint I use is called Onyx, and it is a chalk paint from Michaels. I can hold it up for you. Hi, Sweet Mary Beth. We are in Wisconsin, my darling. So I hope you guys like this. Just something a little fun and different, aged but pretty, right? So that is our first little craft here. It actually came with one of those little stand things that like has the ribbon on it, and I had just taken that off so it will stand on its own, or you can put it as a little shelf sitter or in a little like plate stand. Thank you guys, I'm so glad that you do. So I do see a small little spot where some of that heavy body gel was kind of squishing out. Say that I missed that spot, it would dry clear. You just have to make sure you get the glossy. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it a lot. And that is the Heraldry mold from IOD. So again, that is in the link of today's live. The description of today's live is the link. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, Sweet Carol, to Old to Ooh La La Art if you are at all interested in that mold. Thank you, Vicki. And then let's just do this part. So this is the rice paper. I have also had this one forever. Let me see if I can't find. It was a Paper Designs rice paper, number 0178. Thank you so much, Barb. It's called The Cult. I hate the name of this one. 0178 Paper Designs. So Paper Designs is offered through my link to TH Decor. And I just kind of cut her out. I wanted her to be kind of the focal point. And she's going to go about right here-ish. So we need to do some of this little brick stencil, or at least that's what I want to do. So we'll start here. And then as that dries, I'll move it over and finish it off. Isn't she so pretty? Just so delicate. Now she has a wing on this side, but not on the other. We're going to make sure she has two wings. So I'm not sure how is this going here? I think we're going like so. So she'll have wings on her. She is just a little angel, isn't she? So that's, I think, what we're going to do with the wings. But let's at least do or attempt to do some modeling paste together. Down here, I'll be doing a little bit of blending to kind of go on with what she's got going on the bottom of the rice paper. Thank you, Patricia. Hi, my beautiful Stephanie. So I don't think I need to do, we'll see how I feel about that. But I at least want to just show you this part. So this is the modeling paste that I love so very much. It is from Pentart. Also, you get this huge container. This is 150 mils. That's what they go by. This is probably my third one, and I use it often. I don't think I'm going to like that one. So a little palette tool. We'll try this little plastic one. And I only really need to go where she isn't. All right, I think that's about good. Now you can tint your modeling paste. You could tint it with mica powders, metal pigment powders, with paint, with glitter, all of that kind of stuff. Thank you, Vicki. You just want to make sure that you do a little bit at a time, because it could change, you know, like the consistency of this is nice and thick, where if you added a bunch of paint to this, it's going to thin it out a little bit. So you just want to be mindful of that, I will say. In fact, we're going to move that stencil over so that it goes all the way to the top and the sides. Move her down. One last look. Okay. And just start going in there. Now, if it is a little bit imperfect, which everything is, right? I'm okay with that, because I hope to bring out my idea in this piece. Thank you so much for being here, my beautiful Giselle. I will hope to catch you, my darling, and I love you too. This is the last thing we have to do together. So if you have little clumpy things in any of your, you know, your texture paste, your modeling paste, stuff like that, if it's getting, you know, kind of to the bottom and maybe is a little bit old, or you have some chunks in there, it definitely can affect how it's going to go through your stencil. So if you see those little chunks in there, that's okay, Barb. No problem at all. I'm so happy that you were here. Try to get them out ahead of time, or if you're getting to the bottom of the barrel, basically, I just get rid of it, because those dry, chunky little pieces can sometimes cause, like what I would say is a little bit of bleed through underneath your stencil. Excuse me. And then sometimes, this is just a little canvas that I'm using, because there's really nothing on the back side. You don't really have much to like push down against. So you can put a little something underneath there, a book or something like that, if you want the surface to be a little bit more sturdy when you do this part. I wonder if my mom is on. I did not see her on. Oh, I know that I've had some issues with my comments today on other lives I've been watching, where I had to go out and in 100 times just to see them. I try not to get too worked up over it. So I'm going to kind of go close to where she is. And then over here. And this, it does dry fairly quick. I like to let it sit overnight, just to be on the safe side before I start coming in with any color or paints or, you know, things like that. That's just me. Hi, Sonia. How are you, dear? Acrylic paint and baking soda works well. It really does. I would agree with you on that. Before I found like texture powder, I use that all the time. So that'll give you a really nice texture to your paint if you put a little bit of the texture powder, or like Annette said, baking soda, and kind of mix that together. Will give you some nice texture also. The texture powder from Pentart is kind of like a sand, and they have it in different grits. So from fine to really, really chunky, depending on what you like. I always try to keep a hand down there so nothing slips and slides on me, but I have been known to move it on accident. And you could definitely take a little pencil or something and kind of mark her out so you don't have to hold her on there. Thank you so much for that sprinkle. So once this portion is dried, then I can come in and kind of finish up the rest of it. Do this again where we need the brick to go all the way. And maybe I will do all the way down, looking at it now. But she looks so somber and kind of sad, doesn't she? So we're going to kind of play off of that, hopefully. All right, and then I carefully do my best to remove as much of the excess as I can. All right, I think that's good. Scrape that back in there. And then I just try to get off the excess right away. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Double-sided tape would work great too. You're right, Faye. I do use the 3D powder, actually, Judy. I have had the Pentart 3D powder, the fine powder, for a very, very long time. And I've used it on so many different things. And I do really, really love it. Just a little bit of extra there. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you liked it. I think it turned out so fun too. All right, then you just kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best here. Very nice. I also try to get to my stencil rather quickly, so let me just set that aside for a second before I show you. Because as it dries on, it's a little bit harder to get off. And then, of course, you don't want to really put it down your drain if you don't have to, right? Because it's going to get hard in there. So just a baby wipe to get off that excess. And then I just use, you can use the scrubby soap right on here. I just make sure that I'm not lifting it up at all, like the sponge scrubby part, because that's when you kind of pull up on your stencil, and then I have pieces that are sticking up. Again, don't ask me how I know. So I just keep it down and like gently go over it. And then if you don't have that, you can use a little Dawn power spray, Dawn dish soap, Murphy's oil, whatever you like, and just a soft little, you know, like scrubby brush works really good to get it off. There, not too bad. Versus me waiting and then trying so hard to get it off after the fact. This is from Decoupage Queen. Let me make sure. Should tell me. Yep, it is Decoupage Queen number DQST0011. So you could check it out on my link to TH Decor and see if it is still available. Exclamation point THDECOR. All right, and then if you have any spots where it's kind of sticking up a little bit, like you see right down there, it's kind of sticking up some, you can either leave that as is, or I just take my little palette tool and kind of get that excess off. Like how I use the back of my hand there. Sometimes it's necessary. There. And if there's any other areas where you might have had a little bleed through and that kind of bothers you, all it really is just like a little blur where you would have more of a crisp line. In this situation, I'm not real sad about it. We want them. Hi, Grace. How are you? The Comfy Nest with Grace. So nice to see you. We want it to look a little bit disheveled, I always say. There you go. TH Decor link there. And then I will just continue that on. When it dries, I'll just continue the brick on here and then a little bit at the bottom. And then we're going to kind of treat this almost like a little mixed media piece. And look, we know exactly where she goes on there. But I at least wanted to show you the process just so you're like, well, Kelly, why didn't you do that with us live so we can see what you did? So for her, we're going to be using just a couple transfers. The wings, I believe, and we'll see. Maybe we only do the one wing. We'll kind of take a poll on that when we get that far. And just do something a little bit different with her, I will say. So that is what I have for you guys today. Let me show you the finished piece one more time of the one we just got done with. I think it turned out super pretty. I love that black and gold. So we just did black chalk paint. I'm so sorry I said I was going to hold that up for someone. Onyx from Craftsmart. This just comes from Michael's. I really like it. We did that all over the frame. And then on the very inside, I used the one component crackle medium from Pentart. Hey, sweet Carol. Then when that was dry, I used a little sheepskin chalk paint. So that's the background there on the crackle. And these are the molds from the Heraldry IOD mold. Thank you so much, hon. And then we used a little metal pigment powder in the color Antique Gold. We mixed some of that with that Pigment Fix liquid. Hi, Diane. And we painted the outside of the frame kind of haphazardly to show a little bit of that black and give it kind of an aged look. We used the Gilded Etiquette transfers from IOD, just little pieces of gold there. And then we decoupaged some rice paper here. I'm quite sure that is a Stamperia rice paper. Thank you so much, hon. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Sonia. And we painted the heart in a Bordeaux metallic from Pentart. And then we went over it just a little bit with sparkling gel in red gold. Thank you, Vicki. And we added just a little bit of gold wax paste around the heart. Used a little heavy body gel to adhere those all down. And they are good to go. Thank you, my sweet Donna Sue. And I think that is just so fun and beautiful. Thank you, sweet Becca. And hello to you, hon. And then I have another one of these frames because I got two of them. So I could do a little something similar so that we could have a set, or I could do something completely different, right? So again, the link for the mold is in the description of my live today. It was available at least before I went live. Where is it? Heraldry. You can see that right there. Thank you, Faye. Thank you so much. I can't wait. If you do get it, there are endless possibilities with crafting, I think, with that. It's just kind of something you can always reach for, right? Thank you, Annette. So let me see if there's anything else that we need to talk about. I don't think so. I have my sweet little Henley tomorrow. And so what do I have on Thursday? Is there something? I do. I am meeting one of my old friends for an early lunch, so I will be able to come on. It just might be a little bit later, and I will definitely send out a telegram to let you know when. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Hugs and love to everybody. Thanks for spending some of your day with me. Thank you for those hearts, and I will see you again sometime on Thursday afternoon. Okay? Take good care, guys. Bye-bye.